Hello, everybody. I guess this is video number 3. We're going to talk a little bit about more customization. Specifically, we're going to talk about coding, adding E&M and CPT codes to a list, a preference list, and also orders. So I'll jump right in here. We're in the playground environment with our one test patient that's available to us. So we're going to open her up. We're going to start the visit. Okay. So we're going to pretend we're done with our encounter and we're ready to wrap up and do our charges, our coding. So you'll notice in this box here, you'll see some favorites here. I've already entered these. When you first start using this, these E&M codes probably won't be there. They're certainly not on mine. So the first time you enter charges, let's say your very first patient is a follow-up 99213, you just type it. But then you'll want to go down here and hit the star. And you can name it whatever you want. 99213. And you can see that it shows up now. Let's see, let's just delete the actual charge. So you can create them kind of on the fly like that. So 31231 star. Call that nasal endo. Accept. And there it is. Rid of that charge. So these, if you don't like the buttons, you can come up here, modify layout. Oh, wrong button. Sorry. Set that. Wrong button. On the charge caption, you're going to go to settings, sorry. And you can use checkboxes instead. You can change the number of columns just to change the appearance if you're so inclined. Now, we're going to jump into orders. I hope that the trainer has already showed you how to enter orders. So let's say you want to put in a medication. So you would normally just go to add order. And let's say you want to put them on simvastatin. If you're Mike Franklin, you want to put them on simvastatin. You go up and you check it, and you know how to do this part. We don't have to go through this. So we're going to delete that. The other way to enter orders is using preference lists. So the little triple sucker thing here, lollipop, we call it. You click on that. That'll give you a window with your preference lists. You've seen this before, of course, at Excel. This is what we'll learn how to customize. And everybody, the reason I'm showing you this largely is for Mel and Carl who haven't used it. But these are preference lists, and you can just choose the boxes. Let's say you wanted to give them Ceftonir, and then you can just hit accept, and the order will automatically pop up. As long as you don't have any hard stops that you haven't filled out, you can just go ahead and that's it. You'd just be signing it. Now, we're going to get rid of that. I'd like you to notice something. You saw I used simvastatin for a reason. This time, we're going to type in Ceftonir and hit enter. You'll notice that it only gave us one choice. That's because it's on our preference list and it's going straight to preference list. Simvastatin wasn't, so it went to facility list. So this can be helpful when you know what your preference lists are, rather than opening it up and searching for it, you can just really quickly just hit Ceph and it's going to be right there. So it saves you a little bit of time. Now, you can add, we'll go back to that Ceftonir actually. Oh no, we'll do a different one. Let's do the simvastatin again. Spelled it wrong. So let's say we want to add the simvastatin to our preference list from here, because we're going to be doing a lot of things on the fly. that's perfectly fine. You can just you can fill out as much as you want, and then here on the orders, you'll just hit the little star. It's going to give you another box to fill it out how you will want to add it to your preference list. So when you add things to your preference list, you might want to do it differently than you're doing for that patient. Let's say we don't. And this section here will make sense. You'll want to pick where you want it to go. In this case, we're going to use a preference list, which is medications. And our only section name is favorites, so we'll just leave it there. So we want to put it in medications and my favorites and hit accept. So now it's in our preference list. When we go and look at the preference list, you'll see now that under medication tab, we have simvastatin. You'll notice that all these other medications are under the orders tab. That's because you can put anything under any tab that you want. It's just for organizational purposes. If you wanted to put CT scans under the medication tab, it would let you do it. It just doesn't make any sense. So the next thing we're going to learn how to do is add these in bulk because you may want to, before you start, add a bunch of things that you know you're going to use rather than always doing it on the fly. So we're going to open our preference list composer, not the editor. The editor was for the diagnoses. This is composer. And the first thing that pops up are preference lists that you already have items for, except for this one for some reason. That one pops up with a count of 0. For the purposes of demonstration, you'll want to go down here to this Show Empty List button and click it. And you'll see these are all the different categories that you can have preference lists. You'll see charges. The charges ones, those are the charges that we put in on the CPT code thing. So here you can actually edit them. So let's say you just put a bunch of them in, you don't like the order. You want to reorder them. Well, you can reorder them and put the procedures first or whatever, so they're in a logical order. One thing I don't suggest with CPT codes is trying to add new items because it just doesn't work right. It'll have no procedure found if you do follow up. It just puts garbage in there. So I would only use for the CPT codes, only use this to reorder them and organize them for yourself. We are going to get out of this one. And so we have the all of these that don't have things. Keep these in mind when you're making orders. You'll want to probably have an imaging section for outpatient to put in CT scans, ultrasound, labs. We've already seen the medications, and you can see we have one medication. So let's start with the medication tab. This is probably how it'll start out, how you see it. And when you go here, if you haven't, keep in mind, if you haven't entered any medications in your favorites, it won't show up. So you have to go to Show Empty Lists to find it. But make sure you're in the Medications tab before you start entering medications. Otherwise, like we saw over here, the medications will show up under just orders. And we want them under medications to keep them nice and organized. So we go to back to our preference list editor. So we can see simvastatin is here. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to make sections to keep it organized. So a good section might be antibiotics. You hit accept. And so now that we have a section, you could make a new subsection if you wanted to, cephalosporins and penicillins. We probably don't have that many. So we're just going to add an item. Now, item does work really well for medications. So we're going to say Augmentin. Actually, this is what I would recommend this is what I did for mine. we're going to go back and, well, I'll just tell you so I don't have to redo it. I did antibiotics dash peds, antibiotics dash adults just to keep them separate. But you can, you could do that. You could do adult, and then you could add an item, augmentin. And let's say we want the regular old augmentin here. So you go through and check to see if it's right. It's 2 times daily. Then we're like, oh, well, do we really want to have to go into this and to say how many tablets every time? Perhaps with something as common as augmentin not, maybe we could have a 10-day course for this. And I always check normal. I don't know how important that is. I think it may default there later, but we don't want to have to check that. That's what makes it go electronically. So always check normal. And then display name, you can change it to augmentin. And then you could just put, in this case, 10 days and hit accept. And then you can make another one that's augmentin. Check it. And augmentin dash, you could do 21 days or whatever you want to do. Change this to, and if I've made any mistakes in math and such, apologize. I'm not really paying much attention to that. So we do 42, normal, hit accept. You get the idea. Doesn't have to be exact for this. So you can have a list of various antibiotics. Um, and then same thing, you're like, oh, okay, it's we need to maybe first day one will probably be ordering some CT scans. So you'd want to find imaging outpatient, open that up. You can see I already put CT sinus. With this one, I thought it might be a good idea. You can do it however you want, but this to do them by location because we'll have CTs that we order for Tent, but then we'll have CTs we order for Stormont, and we'll have CTs we order for Newman or other places. So you could make a new selection that's uh, Stormont, and then let's say we want to do a CT neck, CT soft tissue neck with contrast. And then we don't want that long words. We just want to call it a CT neck. And you can just go through the thing, future hospital. It'll be at main campus, Stormont by radiology. Reason for exam, probably leave that blank since it'll vary. Stormontville Health. You click that, you have to answer the questions, but that's good because you only have to do it once. You don't have to do it every time because it's a favorite. So are not going to be pregnant. No, no, no sedation, no sedation, no sedation. Leave that blank. Allergic reaction, no. Of course, keep in mind you have to change these. It's just that's the most going to be the most common. We hit accept. So now if we go back to our patient and we go to our lollipops to open our preference list, we'll see that, oh, there it is, imaging. We've got Stormont CT neck, CT sinus. We've got our medications. We've got our augmentin. So that is pretty much it. Now, you may be asking yourself, can I steal these things from other people like I can smart phrases? Yes, you can. So the way to do that, there's two. We're going to start with this way. If you go up here to follow users, you can pick any doctor. So you can say, I'm going to look at Franklin. So now Franklin sets up there, shows up there. I can unclick me and click him, and you could just leave him up there and toggle between you and him if you like some of his stuff. Um, so you can see that these are probably old, but once upon a time, he has these under all these medications under his orders favorites. So let's say we just want to add individual things here. Like, well, my list, I forgot to add prednisone. So I'm going to go add prednisone. So you hover and you right click and you say add to preference list. And since we have that medications thing, you're going to add it to medications. And you fill it out how you want. Um, you could technically do it to antibiotics, but it's not antibiotics, so we're going to maybe want to make a new category. So you just put it in my favorites, fill it out how you want it, and hit accept. And then if you go to your favorites, it shows up. So we have prednisone there. And then if you don't like where prednisone is, you can go back to my favorites. And let's say we want to do a new section called other, for example, and we want to move prednisone, you can highlight it, right click it, and then move to section other, and then it'll be nested under other. So you can, again, keep it nice and organized. Okay, so we're going to go back to our preference list here. That's how you can share between them or, add individuals. So let's say Mike Franklin is super, super high speed, and we want to just copy all of his stuff. You go down to here in the main preference list selector, you hit copy user lists, and you type in Franklin, and you can see all of his categories pop up, and they're all blank except all of those orders that he had. Let's say we want all of them because they're really good. We hit copy. Oh, and you can do either a merge or replace. Um, one takes your lists and their lists and kind of merges them together. So it takes away duplications. Um, but actually it's going to make more duplications. Replacing will I think get rid of yours and replace it with Franklin's, I think. So I would suggest merge. I have never done that, but I assume that's what that does. So anyway, hit copy. And then close. And when we go to, again, get rid of all these, we go to our orders now, all the Franklin stuff now shows up. Chaotic and unorganized, but nevertheless, it shows up. Also, let's say, same idea, you're late to the game and you're like, uh, well, I didn't really make any charges, kind of things. And I know that Rob did, or in this case, I know that Franklin did. So well, actually, he didn't because I did. But you get the idea. You can still his charge lists too, i.e. you can still my charge lists because you can see there's 6 of them. Although this is a playground environment and I haven't entered any of my own, but you get the idea. We can all kind of share, but you do have to put in the work a little bit yourself. Um, and I think that's enough to get you guys started with preference lists for, well, a lot of things, but mostly orders and charges. Uh, Anything else? I don't think I have anything else for now. Um, oh, maybe one other thing. When it comes to orders, keep in mind that nurses can and techs can see your orders. So if you have uh, preference lists with favorited orders, I think the way that it works, pretty sure it makes their life more easy or easier because they can just hit your favorites. So that's another thing to make their life easier if you have favorites. So anyway, thanks. I will see you guys later.